Happy Friday, guys. Happy Friday. It is Wine, Wealth, and Tea podcast. It's time to go. It's Friday. We made it through the week. It's been a crazy week. We're just waiting for a moment while the Instagram is allowing everybody to know that we're starting our live this evening because it's Friday and it's a Wine, Wealth, and Tea type of day. I've experienced a lot going on this week, from crazy news to we heard some verdicts in the news to child trauma, that just happened to my kid that she's experiencing for the first time. It's just been so much this week that I was actually really excited about coming on and doing this podcast this evening, because I needed a moment of just getting ready to have a good conversation, because that's what we're here for on Wine, Wealth, and Tea podcast. We are here for good conversation. So I am your host, Chrissy, and I am the owner of Polari Wines by Chrissy. And my co-host, which is Tremaine, should be coming on in just a moment. And she is the owner of Healing While Living. So we got together and decided to start a podcast in my third season with Tremaine, fourth season with Tremaine as well, and do a podcast. And I see Tremaine is ready, so let us get her in here. All right. Tremaine, can you hear me? Can you see me? Let's see what's going on. I hope we don't have any issues this evening, because I want to let you guys know there is like a tornado watch down south, and I see Tremaine is coming in, and it's just been going on a lot. And there she is, my beautiful co-host.
Hi.
I was just telling everybody how we may have some issues because of the weather. We have some really bad. It is like the wind is pounding at my windows.
Really?
I'm like, okay.
It's past us
Yeah.
here in Atlanta.
Okay, yeah. This weather. So guys, be safe out there. If you get a tornado warning, please go to your nearest safe shelter and get inside and just stay safe. But yeah, we were just talking about, it's just been a crazy week, and I'm just first of all, we wanted to go ahead and just talk about a couple of things that I heard about and seen about. Well, no, we experienced ourselves this week. We experienced where we had to kind of talk about the fact that we need to make sure that we remind our children about safe words and child predators, and it was really scary. So Tremaine, like, kind of tell us what happened.
Yes. I was in my local Walmart the other day shopping, and I noticed a young man who was kind of trailing me a little bit. And as I moved from each department, he was following me. And, I started thinking, because, you have to think up on your feet when you're in these type of situations. And we never think that we would be in a position where we feel like, we are in a situation that is vulnerable. We're in a moment in which you got to think fast. Everything that you've learned, every technique, this is where it plays in. And it was like no one around at that moment. And so I started thinking, I was like, okay, if I see another person come up, I'll pretend like I know them. He'll go away. And I mean, he shifted everywhere I went. And so I finally just darted, and I went to the door. I went to go check out. And then 2 minutes later, he came and he checked out. I did manage to get a picture of him, and I did report him to the security, because, I mean, he literally was following me around. But, I'm just thankful that God kept his arms around me, because it could have ended up a little bit worse than that. But I tell you, it made me reflect on some things.
Right. We were talking about that because you called me afterwards, and this is just our opening, you guys. As people are coming in, we always do an opening of a conversation of what our week has been like before our guest appears. So yeah, Tremaine was experiencing that, and the first thing we both said was, like, we got to make sure our children have safe words, and we don't use their real names and things in public. And that's something you definitely want to think about, you guys, right now, with a lot of child predators out here and adult predators. I mean, adult women are being snatched up with no problem. I mean, we saw recently on video how a woman was attacked at the gym because she opened the door for someone. So you got to stay on your toes and just be prepared out there. And again, like I said, there's so much things that's been going on in the news. We recently saw where a big-time lawyer down in South Carolina was convicted guilty for murdering his family. That was a case that I listened to daily, and I thought that was the conclusion they were going to come to, honestly. I didn't see any other way, but it seemed to be still a shock because he was prominent lawyer, came from a long line of lawyers in South Carolina. But, justice seems to have been served. That was something that was in the news this week, as well as so many other things. I remember this week for me personally, dealing with my child who has just experienced her first trauma of losing a friend. So that's been like really, really heavy this week, and I don't want to say too much about it. It is in the news here, but talk to your children about trauma, because you don't know what they're experiencing. You don't know how they're digesting it and how their friends around them are digesting it. So it's very important that we talk to our children about trauma, so that they can understand that life is fragile. And this is what my 13-year-old said to me this morning. She's like, Mommy, I'm 13 and I realize now life is just really too short. And I got to really, really just enjoy it with my friends and my family. And I'm like, she's 13 and she has to experience that. But just talk to your children and listen to them as well. This month is March, which is a really, really important month for us.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. This is Women's History Month, you guys. And we want to make sure that you understand some of the women in history. And because this is Wine, Wealth, and Tea podcast, we are two of your women in history. Tremaine, can you tell us a little bit about Healing While Living? Because you are a woman in history now.
Yes. I am the CEO of Healing While Living, which is a holistic company. But before I was the CEO of Healing While Living, I did a lot of acting, mass communications. I won an Emmy. So that's a big accomplishment for my family. I am the first woman to establish such a high ranking. And I built Healing While Living in the middle of a pandemic to help people. It is my background. It is part of my heritage, my Native American heritage, a lot of holistic remedies. And what I do now is apply it to anyone that I come in contact with that is willing to open their minds to alternative medicine. There's nothing wrong with pharmaceutical, because in acute situations, we do need those type of medicines. But there are some things that we can do to help prevent and help assist us in certain elements that we are living in today. And I've been so excited to be able to help individuals with some of my products, such as natural teas. My #1 seller is sea moss and elderberry. And we're going to soon be broadening the business or expanding the business now with a body care line that is made for everybody. Awesome. And so I'm really excited
congratulations and happy Women's History Month to you. You guys, you know a little bit about me. I am Chrissy with Polare Wines. I am the owner of Polare Wines. Not only am I a business owner of my own wine brand, but I am a children's book author. I have my first book. It is available on Amazon still. It's called Ara's First Day of School. Not only have I done that, I'm a businesswoman, an accountant by day, single mom. I juggle it all. I'm the family matriarch, and I'm just a person that loves to do as many things as possible. I am into fitness, into health. I'm into growing my mind and body and spirit. And I have a lot of things that are expanding the Polare brand. So as things transform, I'll talk about it more. I'm getting more into motivational speaking. So just continue to follow me on my YouTube page, on my personal IG page, TikTok, and others as you learn and see the growth of Polare Wines. Good evening. Good evening. I see people that are coming in. So, without further ado, we're going to be getting started, because I know you guys want this great guest to come on, and I know she's here and she's waiting. She's in our waiting room. But I want to first tell you guys who we have. First of all, Tremaine, can you tell us who we have? And I'll go ahead and read a little bit about her, because I'm excited.
Listen, everyone has heard of Kurt Franklin, right? This individual was kind of spotted and brought out by Kirk Franklin, and she's on that famous and popular song that has brought us all through. Anytime we feeling down, we will always start singing
That's right.
Silver and Gold. I'm not going to sing it because all the followers will probably remove themselves from this live. But honey, her vocals are A+.
Yes, and that is Miss Kisha Grandy. She was born and raised in Dallas, Texas. She's been singing since the tender age of 4 years old, and she did her first solo entitled song of Oh My Darling. This was the beginning of her very storied musical career. Raised and adopted by her aunt, Kisha attended the Art Magnets High School, where she studied classical music for 4 years. Kisha went to further her education and receive her bachelor's degree in communications. Miss Grandy was inspired musically by the styles of opera greats as Jessie Norman and Kathleen Battle. Kisha was encouraged by her high school vocal coach to pursue a career as a classical singer. To that end, Miss Grandy began performing several music productions, including jazz. During that time, she realized that she had a love of jazz music as well, influenced by jazz greats Sarah Vaughan and my dear favorite, Nancy Wilson. Miss Grandy incorporated their styles to make it her own. Miss Grandy's life was about to change one night when she was at a concert in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King, and an up-and-coming gospel artist by the name of Mr. Kirk Franklin was performing, and he began to pass the mic around and ask people to sing. So passing the mic around, he must have saw something important, because she must have thought somebody important because she was sitting in the front row, and she must have impressed him because he asked her to be a part of a group called Kirk Franklin and the Family. We all know who that is, right? So as Tremaine said, almost 12 years later, you have heard Kisha's voice, her deep, rich alto voice featured on songs such as Silver and Gold, the Why We Sing, The Night That Christ Was Born, Savior More Than Life to Me, which was a dear song for me. He Loves Me, Lovely Day, Hold Me Now. And Kisha has also been featured in several recordings such as Don't Be a Menace soundtrack, a Coca-Cola commercial, Chrysler commercial, Church's Chicken commercial, and others as well. Miss Grandy has also recorded with artists such as Mary J. Blige, R. Kelly, Bono, Celine Dion, late great Whitney Houston, LL Cool J, Tamela Mann, Donald Lawrence, and many others. Miss Grandy's vocals have also been featured on revered Jackie McCullough in the Gospel Gangsta first album released on Gospel Central Records. It is so much more that I can tell you guys about Miss Grandy, but she's also been the lead character in Tyler Perry's I Can Do Bad All By Myself. She's also been in David E. Talbert's He Says, She Says, But What Does God Say? And Tracy Mitchell's The Night I Fell in Love. Miss Grandy recently was in a movie entitled Sideline Confessions, released in 2014. She is currently working on a solo project, which is not only displays her unique vocal style and love of music, but ministry primarily to young women about various issues facing them. This highly anticipated project will be released soon. So without further ado, I want to welcome Miss Kisha Grandy, and she knows that she has to press that button to come on into the room while we play a little bit of her music in the background as we continue to wait. Kisha, we are waiting for you. There she is. Yes. Yes. It says that you're coming in. Oh, okay. Yes, Queen, yes. Welcome. Look, this song just gets me. It gets me. I was listening to it, and I was just feeling it all over. It just reaches your soul. So welcome to the Wine, Wealth, and Tea podcast. Look, she got her tissue ready.
Thank y'all so much for having me. I am so excited.
Yes. It is our pleasure. It's our pleasure. Now, I promised Tremaine that I wouldn't cry this evening because the song Silver, I got to bring it up. Yeah. The song Silver and Gold, when I tell you it means so much to me because that was one of the songs my grandmother sung in our church from when growing up. That was one of the songs she was known for repeatedly singing.
Wow.
And every time, she's been gone now 6 years, but every time I heard that song, it took me back to her singing when I was 12, 13 years old in Atlanta with Jermaine growing up in church.
Wow.
And when she told me you were coming, I was like, okay, why would you do this to me? She was like, hold it together, hold it together. So I'm going to hold it together, but thank you so much for gracing us with your presence.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me.
Yes, yes. So, we talked a lot about who you are and what you've already accomplished. And you started out at 4 years old. 4 years old. That is something else. Did you even understand that you were singing at 4 years old?
I
You didn't know?
I didn't. I just knew it was something that I was just doing. Didn't know what that was. Found out through my biological family that we have a long history of singers in my family. As I always wondered, like, where did I get this gift from? So at 4, no, I didn't, but I just knew that I wanted to get up off of the potty, and that was my departure song that I sang to get off of the potty.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome. That's awesome. So you had no idea that you were going to be a part of this industry, but it started out and then you went to school and it just kept going from there.
Yeah.
I noticed that you said Nancy Wilson, which is, I was saying in your introduction, that is one of my all-time favorites. I'm a lover of jazz music. So to see that, I was like, wow, that's something else.
Yeah.
How did jazz music, just influence you?
When I began going to high school, we were introduced to so many different types of music. I remember my music teacher would always say, because I was a church baby, everything was church. And when I went to high school, he would say, "Why sing something that you already know?" Because on Sundays I was gonna sing Sunday morning, evening, and night. And when I would get to school, my teacher would say, "Lakeisha, say something," and I couldn't because I was hoarse. And he would get so upset with me. And he would say, "Lakeisha, I understand that, you have to sing your gospel." He said, "But I want you to learn something more." So he introduced me to jazz, and he introduced us to jazz and classical and so many other genres of music. I went to school with, I don't know if anybody's heard of Myron Butler. Myron Butler went to my school. Erykah Badu went to my school. The jazz trumpetist, Roy Hargrove. It was a lot of...
I love Roy Hargrove, yes.
So,
a lot of greats came out of Texas, huh?
Yeah. So going to a school like that, we were taught to learn more than what we already knew. So that's how I developed my love for jazz.
Well, people don't understand how important music is in the shape of education.
Yes.
Music, it can just open the mind to so many other levels of learning.
Yes.
And that's why, people are now trying to push more into the arts for your education, because so many of our children, the norm of math and science is it's not cutting it anymore. It's not holding their attention. I feel like so many of these children are more into the arts than they are in anything else.
They are.
And we just didn't see it, especially with our generation. We didn't notice it. But now, with the children we're raising now, what they're into. What sparks their interest and how they learn. And they need to focus on that a lot more in our educational system to raise more singers like yourself.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So, you talk about how you went and you started doing classical music and opera music as well.
Yeah.
Now, that's different for our culture. Of course,
before I started singing with Kirk, I was in college to become a classical singer. So My vocal coach, she would tell my mom, because I was in my last year of high school, and she would tell my mom, you know, come and listen to my adopted mom, come and listen to Kisha sing. You know, you need to hear her sing. So, you know, she had heard me sing gospel at church, but she had never heard me sing classical. And my vocal coach was like, you got to hear this. So my folks, they, you know, they came in and they were listening. They were like stunned, like, I didn't know she could sing like that. So that's where my mind was to go and become a classical singer. I was going on that path, but God had other plans for me. So
my mind just took me back to Marian Anderson. And yes,
yeah.
I was just about to
Baker.
say that.
You know, these people. When you talk about classical music, and of course it's this Women History Month, so we have to bring them up.
Yes.
But that these are some people of color that made way for us in classical and opera music. So you know, I'm glad that opened the door for you as well.
It did.
You know, so growing up, how was it growing up that you know, how did you notice at a certain point that this is what your career needed to be in?
Well, you know, my mom bought me this little booklet, and it was called School Days. So every year you would write down what you wanted to be. And I would always write, I want to be an actress. I wrote down that I want to be a singer, and I wanted to be a cheerleader, Lord Jesus. So so I think I did good, because
I think you did good. You got 2 out of the 3.
You did real good. 2 out of 3.
So I believe in that thing of writing the vision and making it plain. I believe that by me writing down every school year of what I wanted to be, I believe that's why
put it into the atmosphere and grew that.
Yes.
I'm definitely a strong believer in manifesting who you want to be in life and where you want to go. So thank goodness for that, you know, and understanding that you were writing your own story at that moment, you know.
And didn't know
Isn't that something sometimes you didn't even realize? Yes, I was going to say, isn't that something you don't realize it in that moment, but then you sit back and you go, I wrote my own story, and here I am. So that is amazing, you know. We were talking about, me and Tremaine was talking about earlier, about the fact that gospel singers, there's an article out right now where CeCe Winans, didn't really want to do the I'm Every Woman song, you know, that kind of crossover. But I noticed that you have done music with so many other people, so many genres, including her. How do you pick and choose who to work with in the industry based on being what they consider do you consider yourself just a gospel singer, or are you just an artist?
I can only speak for me. I consider myself an artist, and that's because I've been taught all of this stuff that I'm interested in. You know, I don't want to be just typecast into this one thing as far as an artist. My love is the love of God. Can't nobody change that. But when it comes to work, for me, that's a totally different thing.
It is.
I believe that if I'm tight and right with God, then nothing that nobody says or does can hinder me in what I'm in my walk with God. That's my belief.
You know what? And that's what I gathered from, you know, after reading your bio and seeing all the people that you've worked with. I'm like, this is her art. This is not just being in the music, in the gospel industry, the portion of it. This is her art. She loves to sing. You know, and you have sung with some Celine Dion. I mean, come on, you know.
Actually, I sung with under the umbrella of Kirk. We work with all of those people under Kirk, and you know, people have always had something to say about him and his walk with God. You know,
let me tell you, that man is amazing.
Man, look,
I've known he's extraordinary.
That man loves God. It's just with him, I believe as well. You know, God opens doors.
He's so full of talent until it just oozes out. It's so. That's right. That's what I was trying to say. He can't contain it. He's so full of talent. It just comes out of him, you know. And then he finds talented people like yourself, and like Tim Man and all of these other people, and it just you see what he has saw in you guys, and the careers that you've gained from it is just amazing.
Yeah.
You know,
You know,
so I can see.
with
Oh, yeah.
Cece, you know, when I toured with her, I developed such a respect for her because Cece is the type that she was raised a certain way. She believes a certain way. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't
And you
think,
gotta respect that.
yeah, I
Yes.
don't think that they should ridicule her because of that.
That's
That's
right.
how she was brought up.
Right.
Cece lived
Mm-hmm.
how those songs that she sang, she walks her
She
walk.
lived it. She
Yes,
does. Yes,
yes.
yes. I
So
remember my
Wow.
grandmother saying that you can't sing these songs if you don't live the life
yeah,
that you sing about. And
yeah.
isn't that what Daryl
Oh
Coley
yeah,
said in his song? You got to live the life that I sing about in my song.
That's right.
That's how it went.
that's
That was
right,
one of my
That's
favorite.
right.
He was one of my favorite artists that people don't talk enough about. Daryl Coley.
man.
He was a great, great artist. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Amazing,
Another
they don't
amazing.
brilliant
talk enough
artist.
about him.
Yeah.
But that is just that was just something that me and Tremaine were talking about earlier, and I was like, yeah, I wonder, how do you pick
Mm-hmm.
an artist to work
Yeah.
with? Like, do you look at their art or do you look at their life? And it's funny that I'm asking you this question because I was just watching The Daily Show, and they have Hassan is the guest right now, and he went to ask children
Mm-hmm.
the same question: how do you decide who to work
Mm-hmm.
with in politics and things? And these children had some really, really awkward, but smart
Right.
responses for children. These were elementary school
Uh-huh.
kids. So even with you, how do you decide you don't look at the person's life, but you look at their art and you go, I'm going to work with them?
Now, this is true. The way that I determine now, if they are straight, blatantly devil worshiping type of artists, I can't work with them kind.
Right.
I won't work with those that,
Okay.
the devil is I mean,
I
that's what they're
Yeah, you
displaying.
got to be
They got
really,
the
really like
horns
out
and
there. Right, right.
I can't work
I
with
get
those
it.
kind.
I
But
get
when
it.
people assume that, like secular artists, you can't work with them because they sing secular music, a lot of these secular artists serve God more than a lot of us gospel
About
artists.
that. About that. And it's a lot of it
Mm.
coming out now, and honestly, it connects to the children
Yeah.
more. So I listen to Erica Campbell's show every morning. I
Mm-hmm.
love the show.
Yes.
And my daughter, this is
Yes.
our
Yes.
ride on the way to
Mm-hmm.
school, right? So she does these Hollywood Bible stories.
Okay.
They are hilarious. And she does them in a way that my daughter goes, these are funny. I understand it. I said, do you like listening to this? She said, yes, mommy, turn it up. I understand it more what she's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be
Oh,
relatable
You
wow.
to
do.
the audience to pull them in. So now
That's
here this
right.
kid
Mm-hmm.
is, every time she
That's
knows that
right.
Hollywood stories, Bible stories are coming on, turn it up. I want to hear what this story is going to be about today.
See?
You know? And
See?
Mm.
Erica, if you ever see this, thank you, because you don't even know the audience that you're
Yes.
bringing
Thank
when you do these Hollywood stories. These children are listening and they are learning and they remember it and they
Amazing.
laugh.
I love it. I love it.
And
You
that's
have
just
to.
because she is right, because she is crossing over. She's not just focused
you.
on thou art
Mm-hmm.
thou. Yeah, we were all little. We were like, who is thou and why is it art thou?
Exactly.
She's being direct and talking. So that crossover in music and gospel connects to people. It helps. It
Yes.
helps. So thank you for being an artist that is not closing the door on helping us relate to God in any way possible.
Yes.
Because we need him. We need him now more than ever.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
So
Do.
it's just important to me that that you learn to connect with your audience.
Definitely.
Did you did you have
Very important.
moments growing up and being in the industry that inspired you more than others to keep going? Like just wanted to keep going, and it was that moment in time for you that said, "Okay, this is it. Now I know I got to keep going."
When I started singing with Kirk Franklin and the Family, let me back up a little bit before Kirk asked me to be a part of the family. I was in college, and I was in one of my musical theory classes, and something just hit me all of a sudden. I don't tell this part of my life that often, but something hit me while I was in my musical theory class. And I got up and I went to the restroom and I just started boohoo crying. I was just crying really hard. And I was like, God, I know this is, I know I need this as far as college. I said, but I don't feel like this is where I need to be right now. And I kept crying and I said, God, please reveal to me what it is that you have for me. Because right now I don't feel like I'm being fulfilled. I don't feel like, I don't know where my life is headed to. And it just don't feel like it's headed in the direction that I would like for it to go. Well, after that, that's when I met Kirk. And I said, wow. Years later, I thought about that. I was like, oh my gosh. I was crying.
That was getting your answer.
God opened that door because he heard my cry. Yeah.
He was aligning you at that moment.
Cry and doors started opening. So when he opened those doors for me, that's when I was like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So everything just started falling into place with my career, and the rest of it was history for me.
So often I speak about finding the path. Now, we're not always going to go down the right path, but finding the path, asking for the help. You know, a lot of times we all grew up in a time where we were told you ask and you wait on God to give you the answer. But sometimes the answer is the path that you need to go down. So you went to an event, which was that path that was already laid out for you, and he was waiting for you. It was already laid out, you know? So follow your path, guys. Don't dismiss. You're sitting around praying, I need this happen, I want this to happen. And then I'm not going to go to this event. I don't feel like it, because a lot of times our mental will hold us because we're not doing what we're supposed to do. So that mental will grab hold of you and will lock you up. You will be a prisoner of yourself. Because you're not following the path and listening to what God is calling you to do. So listen to what he's telling you to do. Fight against those demons and that mental trap that you're in, and just get out there and go, you know. And I'm giving myself chills because I just, it's the mental right now that a lot of us in, the mental state that we're in is so hard. It is hard. I tell people on a daily, it is hard to be positive in the world that we live in. You got to really work hard to go down the path that you're supposed to go.
And Chrissy, I'm so glad that you mentioned that. I'm glad that you mentioned about mental, because there was something that Kisha wanted to talk about that happened to her in 2003. If you listen to her new album, So Holy, around 5 minutes and 40 seconds, she speaks about that particular event that had to do with mental. And so since we're on that, Kisha, can you tell us a little bit about that mental state that you were in and how it impacted you?
2003, I had just gotten married, but my career was non-existent. So the stress of that, it's hard being on the mountaintop, doing what you love doing, and then God will turn that thing around and you're not doing nothing. Nobody's calling your name. You're not traveling all over the world, and your mental state just goes crazy, which is what mine did. You know, I didn't know. So I said, well, God, since I guess this is the end for me, so I'm gonna just go on and end it for me. So I took like a whole bunch of prescription meds, and I tried to take myself out of here. And God said, not so. That was the first time. God said, not so. He said that it was not time for me to take my life. So God delivered me from that situation. And my next battle was blood transfusion. I have a very rare blood type. I'm Rh negative, and I had to wait to get blood.
Me too. Yes, so rare. So rare.
Wow. Yes, I
have to get injections during my pregnancy because of that. So that I wouldn't lose my daughter. And I did not know. I did not know that I was that type.
I never knew that.
I did. Listen, women of color, go check, because you don't know. This is something I did not know, and you are the first person I've ever met that has that. Yes. And if you are carrying a child, you will lose your child if you do not get a shot before and during a labor. It was right at when I found out I was pregnant with her and right before I had her. You have to get that shot or you will lose your life and you will lose your child's life. It's very important. So nice to meet you, sister.
You too. This is rare. I tell my friends, y'all don't understand how
Rare.
rare blood type.
Very rare. And I don't tell people.
So I mean, my blood level was at a 4. It's supposed to have been like at a 12. And the doctor was like, I don't even understand how you're still alive. So I had to get like 7-8 pints of blood. I had to wait till the next day by my blood type being so rare. I had to wait till the next day to get blood. So I almost lost my life then. And then I almost lost my life during COVID. This is where I met my friend here. You just don't know how you changed my life. I didn't know you from Adam, but my spirit connected to yours. And you started sending me stuff for my COVID. And when I was in the hospital, before that happened, while I was in the hospital, people around me were dying. One person that was in the room next to me had died. The person on the other side of me in that room, they had to hurry up and put that person on a ventilator. And that wasn't my story. I never was put on a ventilator, but the doctor did tell me if I had not have gotten there when I did, the story would have been different. My life would have been gone. But I prayed every day while I was in my room. You couldn't be around nobody. Could nobody come in? I mean, it was just, I feel like God totally isolated me because he needed to get my attention alone with him. So I was able to spend time with God alone and no TV, no nothing, just praise and worship music and speaking to God. And every day the doctor would say, well, looks like you're getting better. So every day they was taking me off of this. They was taking me off of this. I developed some health issues due to the COVID, but that's all right. I was able to go home. After, I think, about 2 weeks. And again, people around me were dying and their health issues were getting worse and mine was getting better. And I couldn't do nothing but praise God because that video that I posted online, and thank God for Larry Reed. Larry Reed posted that video, and that video went viral. So I had people all over the world praying for me. And every time, each person that I would look on, periodically I would look at the messages, and the one main thing that everybody was saying was, you shall live and not die. And I would quote that every single day. Every single day, I shall live and not die. I shall live and not die. I'm a true believer that words have power. So I'm very careful of what I speak out of my mouth. So every day that I was speaking that out of my mouth, God was healing me every day. The healing every day. And after I got out, I came home and I sat down and I looked up to God and I said, God, you are amazing.
Thank
She had a call. Yeah, that's all. It was a call.
People were telling me that I was going to have breathing issues, and I have not had any issues from COVID. Thanks be to God. So, 2003, then this battle, then that battle. I thank God for every battle because the
battle is not yours, honey. What they say, the battle, that's right. That's it.
He kept showing me that he was God and he was in control of my life and not me and nobody else.
Awesome. Just powerful story. Like, I just, it's something because me and Tremaine, this is my 4th season in podcasting, her 2nd season with me as a co-host. And during that time, I didn't want to come back during the 3rd season. She pushed me to come back. Yeah. And during our 3rd season, all of our guests were men. And we prayed to just get powerful women for this season. And we have been blessed with some powerful women. And I'm just so grateful that you came on to tell your story and to tell us about all the many ways that life can my saying, and if you know me, keep moving forward. That is my saying. That is my motto, because life is going to happen. Yeah. It's going to happen. You're going to live. There's 2 things that's for certain. When you live, you die.
That's
It's
right.
what you do in between before you get to that end.
Yep.
Keep moving forward. That makes
That's
a
right.
difference. And you have not stopped. You keep moving forward, sister. And it's just been an amazing journey. And you have not only persevered, but you have other projects that's coming up.
Yes.
So I'm going to let Tremaine take over
Yeah.
for this moment and talk to you about, this is her tea moment where she gets some of the good juicy stuff. I mean, we got the juicy stuff, but she now gets the juicy.
I know.
I know she
I'm so
got a
sorry.
soul.
I had to go ahead. We were talking about mental illness. I had to go ahead and get that in there while we were talking about that. I had to make sure that everyone heard your testimony because it's so powerful. And it was so crazy how I met her. And like you said, God will put people in your pathway. Sometimes you think you're helping them, but they're actually put in position to help you. And so that day I was listening to Silver and Gold, and I said, I wonder who was singing on this album. I started Googling.
Oh, she's getting a little frozen up too. Yeah,
I started doing what I do best.
Digging.
I found her. And unfortunately, when I found her, she was in the hospital. And I was like, oh my goodness. When she said that she was suffering COVID, I was like, okay, you know how I am. I get into everybody's message and I'm like, let me help you. Because I feel like, we're women. We got to help each other. We got to help position our crowns on each other's heads. That's so important to us. And so your music and your voice has really inspired so many women. And we appreciate you. You're very underrated. Okay. Your voice is very powerful. And that new album, which I'm ready. I already told you what we're going to listen to now. Your vocals. So holy. Right? It's out because I went and downloaded it. And that song is so powerful. And I think it really highlights your vocals. There's no one else. There's you. And you're telling your testimony. And then when you get into that praise break in that song, girl, I was on the treadmill. I almost fell off. I said, whoa.
Wow.
I wasn't ready for that.
God be the glory.
I had to stop the treadmill. So, I need you to grace us with what God has gifted you with, which is your outstanding vocal. Sing any song you want. Mary Had a Little Lamb, whatever you want. It is your moment.
I'm going to sing this song right here. And it's because I'm just led to, because so many people's faith is so shattered right now. And right now we just need to have faith in God and know and remember that faith can conquer anything. I have faith that sees the invisible, inspects the incredible, receives the impossible. Oh, faith that can conquer anything. Oh, I have faith to reach the unreachable, faith to fight the unbeatable, faith to remove the unmovable, faith that can stand the invincible. I have faith that can conquer anything.
God Almighty.
Faith to reach the unreachable. I have faith to fight the unbeatable. I have faith, Lord, to remove the unmovable. I have faith that can stand the invincible. I have faith that can conquer anything.
My God, my God, my God. Look, y'all better share. I see y'all commenting your heart and your fire and everything else. You better share this interview. Okay?
Yes.
Share, start following, stream it. Because what people don't realize is Wine, Wealth, and Tea is a conversation worth having with people that are important to us, that are not getting enough notice. You know, we don't see them enough on enough platforms because it's not on, let's see, the Good Morning shows or the Oprah shows. This is where we start. This is where we start right here. This is the ground level.
That's right.
And you know, I might not be at 100 million followers, but this is where we starting, and we're gonna grow. But it takes people that are watching right now that felt something when you just heard that. Because what I just heard, that wasn't no auto tune. That wasn't mic check. That wasn't none of that. That was right at you, live. Okay. That made me cry, and I don't cry.
No.
I don't cry. She said, yeah, she always got a tissue ready. So Kisha, you have a project that you have, a solo project that you're working on.
Yes.
And it's primarily to young women.
Yes.
So because it's Women's History Month, can you tell us a little bit about that project? I know it's coming and you'll be releasing, but can you give us a little bit something?
We are diligently working. I just finished another song that was actually for something else, and then my producer Ernest J. Lee was like, we need to ask if we can keep that song. So we're collecting material now to put I'm doing an EP to put that together, and I'm gonna present it to the world. You know, I'm trying to partner up with children that have been sexually abused, because I'm a survivor of that. Just any type of children that have been adopted. You know, I have a passion for that because I was adopted. So just trying to link myself with organizations that will help those young Black women. You know, we won't help for everybody, but our Black women need so much help.
We need it.
So
we need it.
That's my passion. I'm praying to God that those doors will open, that I will be able to create those things in order to be able to help more women of color.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. And listen, you guys, if you are a business owner, it is important. It is almost part of you being in business to help your community.
Yes.
You can't survive as a business owner without the community that you serve.
That's right.
So you have to give back to your community. That is something that is dear to me as well, with being a wine owner.
Yes.
We have a program because, you know, I often tell people don't shoot me for it, but, you know, we all know Jesus turned water into wine.
Right.
It is Polari Wine's duty to turn wine into water. Yeah. So we are advocates in making sure our community have the water that they need. So if you know someone, even if you don't drink wine, and you want to sponsor a place to get water, just reach out to us at Polari Wines by Chrissy, and look and see that what we're trying to do is help our community get drinking water.
Yes.
You can see all around our own country, we cannot drink water. That is unheard of. Yeah. So that is dear to my heart, just like helping children and women in need is dear to your heart. We all have a duty to help our community.
That's right.
So I just want to say again, thank you so much for coming and joining our show. Is there anything else you wanted to tell us about or talk to us about while you're here? You have been a delight.
I just want you guys to continue in your prayers, that God will continue to open doors, new doors that have never been opened for any artist that's considered a Christian artist. Just praying that God would open doors, continue to give me favor with men, with people, with everybody. I just want, follow me on social media as well, so you can keep up to date with what I have going on. Everything is Kisha Grandy. Kisha Grandy. My Instagram is the official Kisha Grandy. Just keep up with me, and I'll let you guys what's going on to give you progress on my project. And just keep me in your prayers. Satan is so busy.
Yes.
And he tries to attack, and I need God's covering, and I need y'all's prayers. So that's
Absolutely. Anytime you want to come back and tell the community about anything you're doing, you know, the doors are always open at the Wine, Wealth, and Tea podcast. Thank you again, sister, for joining us. Yes. And I hope you enjoy more of your Women's History Month and keep moving forward. God bless you.
Thank you
We will
so
talk to you
much.
soon.
God bless you guys as well. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Tremaine, she's there, but she's spinning right now. But you're welcome to go ahead and leave us. You know, we got Tornado Watch and everything. You're welcome to go ahead and sign off, and we will talk to you again soon.
All right.
Thank you so much, sister.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey, everyone. This is Wine, Wealth, and Tea podcast, and that was there's Tremaine. She's coming in a little bit more clear, but thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, it was a phenomenal interview. I mean, that is one you don't want to miss by sharing, liking, and discussing, and we will soon have this on my YouTube page. It's called Polari Lifestyle on YouTube, where I try to put all of our interviews online. Continue to follow us here for more upcoming events, more upcoming conversations, and we're going to try to just do more of just us being us together and talking about different things that affect us. Before we go, Tremaine, I wanted to talk to you about another thing that has been on my mind, we talked about earlier this week, as we wind down, how difficult it is to be in Women's History Month, to be a double minority. That is something that has struck a chord with me. I don't know, it's just so difficult. You know, not only do we have to wake up in a space of understanding that we are part of the brown community, thank you so much, in this country, but that being a woman is a very, very difficult thing in this country. I hope that more women stand up and speak about injustice that are done to them, ask to be treated fairly, ask for equal pay, ask for, you know, all the things that make you being able to be a woman in this country and to be free. But that is something that I want to talk a little bit more on over the next few weeks before our next guest. So hopefully we'll get together. And if you know anyone, guys, that wants to be a part of our conversation, please, please, please reach out and let us know, because we can't do this without you. We're in our 4th season of Wine, Wealth, and Tea podcast, and it's just getting started.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Official CJB. Thank you.
All right, Tremaine, I will talk to you soon, darling. Stay safe. Make sure them tornadoes don't mess you up too bad down there. Stay safe, please.
Thank you.
All right.
You too as well.
Have a good
and everyone else.
Have a good weekend, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.